Plus, the special counsel's report as to whether there was enough evidence to convict President-elect Trump. We'll look at the public release of the findings of the January 6th case that has been dropped. This is News 3 Now at noon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jalen Banks in for Josh Sprider. We begin this afternoon with the weather again. Frigid temperatures remain in southern Wisconsin, but some relief could be on the way. Let's check in right now with First Warn meteorologist Blaze Keller, who's out on the weather patio. Blaze?
Yeah, it is definitely cold out this morning. Again, we did have an alert day issued for your Monday and Tuesday morning because of those cold wind chills. And while we continue to sit underneath plenty of sunshine, this is kind of when we get to that point of the year where when we have these very sunny days, we're probably dealing with some very cold temperatures. There is a look at our current wind chill values. It feels like it's 7 below zero in Madison, in the Dells, 3 below zero in Boscobel. A balmy 14 below zero for those in La Crosse, Decorah, as well as in Viroqua. But our actual air temperatures are above zero, a few degrees up there towards the north and west to almost nearing about 10 degrees in Madison, as well as in Janesville, Monroe, Beloit, Watertown, Beaver Dam as well, coming in at about 8-9 degrees. So overall, the sunshine is going to make for a very nice day. We're not going to be dealing with cloud cover, but it is still going to be cold. We're only going to climb into those single digits, if not the low to mid-teens, underneath plenty of sunshine. Now, Jalen mentioned that there is some relief on the way. We are expected to climb into the 30s and even the low 40s by the end of the work week. But then that's followed by even colder air, the coldest air of the season, possibly. So we'll track that out in just a few minutes.
All right, sounds good, Blaze. Looking forward to some of that relief. All right, see you then. To an update on a missing Sun Prairie woman. Police have arrested the last person known to be with her. They say the person was arrested for providing false information during an investigation of 27-year-old Ingrid Vivalde Ponce. The person of interest is currently being held at the Dane County Jail. Ponce was last seen on January 11th. She was wearing a black t-shirt, black leggings, and brown boots. If you have any information on the case, please call Sun Prairie Police. You're taking a live look at Madison Police Chief and the department as they are giving their State of Public Safety address. Chief Barnes says he will be sharing some year-end data and crime trends we saw in 2024. Madison Mayor Sachi Rhodes Conway will also speak at the address. We will have more from this address later on Live at 4 and channel3000.com. There's a new man in charge of Madison Police, at least for now. The Madison Police and Fire Commission named John Patterson as the interim police chief. He will lead the department when current Chief Sean Barnes steps down in February. Patterson currently serves as assistant police chief. He began as an officer in 1998 and has moved up in the ranks since then, doing it all here in Madison. He will serve as interim chief until the city finds a permanent replacement. Chief Barnes will join the Seattle Police Department later this year. Less than a month after the deadly shooting at Abundant Life Christian School in Madison, Governor Tony Evers signed an executive order today on gun control. Political reporter Will Keneally is at the Capitol and has the very latest. Will?
Hey, Jalen. Yeah, the governor today created what's called the Office of Violence Prevention. Now, he describes it as a way to kind of connect the dots between state and local agencies. Now, it'll also help disperse grants from the state down to local agencies. That could include things like law enforcement grants, school district grants, or also grants to firearm brokers, for example. Now, as you mentioned, this is coming within less than a month since that Abundant Life Christian School shooting. Now, this is not the first time that a Wisconsin governor has created such an office in the wake of a shooting. Former Governor Scott Walker created the Office of School Safety in the wake of the Parkland, Florida shooting as well. Now, Governor Evers is putting $10 million of federal pandemic aid behind this office. Now, he'll likely ask the state legislature for more money to continue funding this during the state budget process. We're expecting that to kick off within the next couple of weeks here. And actually, within the next half hour or so, I'll show you over here in the state assembly that you can see behind me. We're expecting Republicans to hold a news conference ahead of an assembly session. So we'll hear their take on this governor's new office coming up within the next few minutes here. We'll continue to keep you updated throughout the evening and throughout the day online at channel3000.com. But for now, reporting from the state capitol, Will Keneally, News 3 Now.
Sounds good, Will. Thank you. The Madison Common Council is set to vote on a proposal that will keep 2 local ice rinks out of debt. It comes after the Madison Finance Committee approved a proposal to restructure ownership of the Hartmeyer and Madison ice arenas. The debt is a result of years of financial struggles exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic. About 16,000 people use one of the two ice arenas. The arenas offer services like adaptive hockey and skate programs. The Finance Committee recommended that the council approve the proposal at tonight's meeting. A man is dead after a rollover crash last night. It happened near the town of Jefferson. A preliminary investigation shows the vehicle was traveling on County Highway Y when it failed to make a turn just north of Vogel Road. The vehicle rolled several times, stopping before in a field on the east side of the road. Life-saving measures were attempted but were unsuccessful. The crash remains under investigation. Some fire-weary Los Angeles residents are warned to be ready to go yet again as winds kick up. The renewed threat comes amid ongoing firefights. The extreme fire danger is real, with another blaze breaking out last night north of LA and Ventura County, forcing evacuations. Right now, there's a red flag warning in effect, with potential wind gusts as high as 70 miles per hour. A Malibu beach has transformed into a temporary home base for thousands of firefighters to eat, sleep, and recharge.
We just eat whenever we can because we never know when we're going to have to go up there and fight a fire.
Meanwhile, officials are trying to also determine if embers from this New Year's Eve fire may have reignited the spark into the massive Palisades fire. Overnight, the Department of Justice released Special Counsel Jack Smith's report on President-elect Donald Trump's attempt to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election. Christian Benavidez reports from West Palm Beach, Florida.
A new Justice Department report details Donald Trump's efforts to stay in power following the 2020 presidential election. Former Special Counsel Jack Smith writes that the admissible evidence was sufficient to obtain and sustain a conviction at trial. Trump was first charged with trying to overturn the election in 2023, but the case faced multiple delays, including the Supreme Court's ruling that former presidents have immunity for official acts while in office. Then, when Trump won in November, Smith asked the judge to dismiss the charges, citing the Justice Department's long-standing policy against prosecuting a sitting president. Following the report's release, Trump attacked Smith on social media, calling him a lean-brain prosecutor and saying the voters have spoken. Trump has consistently maintained he did nothing wrong, calling the investigations politically motivated.
It's called lawfare. It's called weaponization of justice. I defeated deranged Jack Smith. He's a deranged individual.
In a letter accompanying the report, Smith pushed back against the president-elect's accusations of bias, writing that Trump's claims are, in a word, laughable. For now, the Justice Department is withholding a second volume of Smith's report under court order. That part details the investigation into classified documents found at Trump's Mar-a-Lago home. Christian Benavidez, CBS News, West Palm Beach, Florida.
Attorney General Merrick Garland has said he wouldn't publicly release the second part of the report because of ongoing proceedings against Trump's former co-defendants in the documents case. And coming up at noon, Starbucks reverses its policy on using their restrooms. Plus, the federal government takes action against the company accused of falsely advertising face masks during the pandemic.
You're watching News 3 Now at noon.
Nearly 6,800 people who bought fake N95 face masks during the COVID-19 pandemic are getting a refund. The Federal Trade Commission took action against Razor and its affiliates, accusing the company of falsely advertising its Zephyr respirator as an N95 or equivalent to it without certification. The FTC is sending out more than $1 million, around $150 per person, in checks or PayPal payments in the coming days. In a reversal, Starbucks is now requiring people to make a purchase in order to hang out in its stores or use its restroom. The company had put into place an open door policy 7 years ago after two black men were arrested at a Philadelphia location while there for a business meeting. That incident resulted in national embarrassment for the company, but since then, the company says staff have struggled with unruly and dangerous behavior in stores. And with a month until Valentine's Day, Brock's wants to help candy lovers go global. The company is adding sentimental phrases in multiple languages on its familiar candy hearts. It's also adding 4 new flavors: mango, passion fruit, peach, and pina colada. That's your CBS News Money Watch report. For more, log on to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the CBS Broadcast Center, I'm Chanel Call.
Here's a look at the current stock numbers. The Dow was up 21 points, the Nasdaq is down 61, and the S&P 500 is down 13. Our call for action volunteers are in the building, taking your consumer complaints and taking action on your behalf. You can call for action at 608-270-2833 or submit a claim anytime at channel3000.com/call-for-action. Up next, Pam has today's farm numbers along with Blaze's first one forecast. And then on Live at 4, Dr. Jeff Potoff joins us to talk about the link between heart disease and breast cancer. Let's check in now with Farm Babe Pam Yankee for your Midwest Farm Report. Pam, how you doing?
Hey, Jalen, we're doing all right. So long as we're indoors out of that little bit of wind that's out there. It's nice to look at, but still pretty chilly to the touch. We'll hear what that forecast looks like in just a minute here. But let's talk a little bit about some of the folks that are helping to make World Dairy Expo happen. You know, every year when that show rolls around at the Alliant Energy Center, literally hundreds of volunteers from really the WISC community step in to make sure that things run smoothly. World Dairy Expo recognizing their Friends of Expo for 2024. You might recognize some of these faces. Phil Willems is from Wanakee. He's a fella that you'll see at World Dairy Expo wearing a cow hat, usually leading groups of 4th graders from around the Dane County area on tours of World Dairy Expo. May be the first time some of those kids are ever near dairy animals or learning anything about the dairy industry. He's been a school tour volunteer for over 20 years, one of our Friends of Expo. And then the other gal that you see there, that is a member of the World Dairy Expo Board of Directors, Emily Yesser-Stepp. She is actually from Leesburg, Virginia. She is also very involved in making sure not only as a board member, but also working media interviews, doing whatever she needs to during the show to make World Dairy Expo a success. And then speaking of success, this fella can tell you all about it when it comes to cheese. Sid Cook is one of our Wisconsin cheesemakers that's going to be recognized during the Wisconsin Cheesemakers Association 2025 Cheese Industry Champions Ceremony. Sid is the leader at Carr Valley Cheese. He is a master cheesemaker himself, certified, and oversees 4 cheese factories, 7 retail stores, cold storage facility, and a very robust wholesale and food service distribution. Guess we're not going to see Sid today, but Sid Cook from Carr Valley Cheese is going to be recognized at the Wisconsin Cheesemakers' upcoming April Cheese Con as a cheese industry champion. Congratulations. Well, markets today are kind of retrenching after a really strong trade day on Monday. The World Egg Supply Demand Report was a surprise to a lot of folks. Normally, the January report doesn't bring us much in the way of news or information, but this time around, they lowered domestic supplies of corn and soybeans, kept the South American crop basically unchanged. So that's a little bit of a surprise for the markets. Today, barrel cheese is down a penny at $1.87. 40-pound block cheese down a penny at $1.90. AA butter, that dropped 3 3/4 cents today, Jalen, at $2.57.5. We'll have to try to get Sid Cook's picture up there tomorrow, perhaps, because he is one of the real staples of Wisconsin cheese-making industry, and I know he's getting the award. I don't want to miss giving him his accolades here on News 3.
Absolutely. Always important to give people their flowers. Thank you, Pam.
Yep. All right.
Bad news for egg lovers. The current egg shortage may not improve anytime soon. According to the USDA, in November and December alone, more than 17 million egg-laying hens died as a result of the avian flu. It will take months to replace those flocks. Fewer egg-laying hens means fewer eggs and higher prices. According to Nielsen IQ data provided by the American Egg Board, the average price of a dozen of eggs of any kind at the end of December was $4.33. Nearly 25,000 pounds of frozen chicken and cheese taquito products sold at Aldi are being recalled. Best Way Sandwiches Incorporated says the products may be contaminated with metal. The recall covers Casa Mamita chicken and cheese taquitos, 20-ounce carton packages. They have best buy dates of July 3rd, 2025 and September 25th, 2025. Consumers should return the products or throw them away. Madison Magazine's Winter Restaurant Week kicks off this Sunday. All week on News 3 Now. This morning, we'll be giving away restaurant bucks. You could win a pair of Restaurant Week bucks valued at $60 to use at any of 40 participating restaurants. You can enter to win by heading to the website right on your screen. And temperatures warming up just a little bit by the end of the week. Here's Blaze with your complete forecast.
That's right. We're looking at a kind of full swing in terms of our temperatures from the start of the week to the end of the week. We'll go from the single digits in the morning and teens in the afternoon to the 30s and 40s by the afternoon there Thursday and Friday. So this is going to be a nice little break from not only the cold that we're experiencing now, but also kind of the cold that we will then go into as we end next weekend and then go into the start of that next work week. You can see our high temperatures compared to normal, 10 to 15 degrees above normal both Thursday and Friday. Friday especially, we're expecting some of those low 40s to make it into southern Wisconsin. A normal day there on Saturday, and then that Arctic blast that we've been telling you about for the last couple of days and preparing you for arrives as we go into Monday, Tuesday, and lasts through about Wednesday of next week. So take a look at those temperatures as we go Tuesday into your Thursday. We're into those mid 30s by Thursday afternoon. And then if we fast forward into Friday, we're beginning to see kind of this surge of 40s into parts of southern Wisconsin, maybe even into the Chicagoland area. The reason is because a low pressure system is moving from northwest to southeast. And so it's pulling in this warmer air out of the southwest. But then behind that, and very quickly, we're going to be moving in that Arctic blast. So enjoy the upper 30s to low 40s on Friday because we are set to cool on down. Again, we're sitting at an 80 to 90% chance of being cooler than average from the 20th through the 24th, kind of the heart of this Arctic blast. And then we ease out of that as we go into those last few days of January. So looking at Friday, there's the warmer air, those 40s overhead, the greens marking, and even the yellows marking that warm air. And then in contrast, the whites up in the Arctic and near the Hudson Bay, that is that cold air that's going to be pulled southwards. And watch as it does, flowing in very quickly behind our warm up, balancing out the warmth that we're experiencing within the cold. That same low pressure system is going to kind of make its way back towards the Hudson Bay, and those northwesterly winds are just essentially pulling down that Arctic air, mixing in with northwesterly winds from a couple of high pressure systems off on the Rockies, and just really funneling that cold air down. And take a look at who's going to be warm. Parts of northwestern Canada and Alaska. So again, it's all kind of a balancing act, and we have to make room for that warmer air for our friends in Alaska and northwestern Canada. And by doing that, we take the cold air that would otherwise be there and put it overhead. Anybody there in the purple as we go into your Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday of next week, you are at or below 0 degrees. So by Tuesday, we start to ease up from these cold temperatures. And speaking of the cold temperatures, look at how cold we're going to feel or be as we go into even your next Monday afternoon. Still below 0 as we go into the afternoon hours, and that continues into Tuesday as well. And here's a quick snapshot of what those wind chill values may feel like as we're going into your Monday afternoon, 20 to 30 degrees below 0. So that's why we've got alert day issued for next week already. Plenty of sunshine today, though, but it is going to be cold into those teens. There is a look at your 7 and 10 day forecast. Pretty quiet other than maybe some flurries there on Saturday. But again, with the cold comes the quiet. And again, please make sure that you are dressing warmly next week because we are only going to hang out in the single digits. Stay with News 3 Now. We'll be right back.
No, not the kind you find at a barbecue competition. This brisket doesn't require any seasoning rub or long hours in a smoker. The kind we're making today is more of a slow-cooked pot roast, and it goes together like this. This is a fresh brisket, not to be confused with a pickled corned beef brisket that we would serve on St. Patrick's Day. To get this ready for the oven, all we have to do is throw together a basic sauce made from ketchup, mustard, and brown sugar. Now, we take a cup of this and add some water to it and pour it into a roasting pan. We place the brisket on top of that, fat side up, and slather it with the rest of the sauce. At this point, the oven does the rest of the work. Once it's fork tender, which takes a few hours, all you have to do is slice it across the grain, and it's ready to serve. To say this brisket is full of flavor is an understatement, and it's so tender. To get the easy recipe for our crowd-pleasing brisket, all you have to do is visit our website. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a slow-roasted way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Thank you for joining us for News 3 Now at noon. We'll see you right back here for Live at 4.